All right, Rube, I have in front of me the list of Eagles pending free agents. Pretty long list here, but 9 unrestricted free agents, 4 restricted, and 1 exclusive rights. So I figured we would just go through them, give our thoughts, whether or not we think, A, if they'll be back, B, if it's even worth contemplating bringing them back. And to me, the toughest one we'll start with is Rodney McLeod. It's tough for a few reasons. I mean, because he's older, he's 31, he's had 2 ACLs, but at the end of this year, he started playing much better, and he makes really the defensive player of the year with that diving interception against Washington. It's easy to say just move on and get younger in the secondary, but you have to fill 3 starting spots, and if you can't do that, then maybe you're better off bringing him back.
Yeah, no, you said it exactly right. Like you have to ask yourself, what reason is there to not bring him back? Just because he's 30, what is he, 31?
Mm-hmm.
I thought the way he played over the last month of the season was really encouraging. And, he did not play well when he first came back. I thought he couldn't run. But, I mean, look, that's understandable. He's coming off an ACL. What did he miss the first 2 games and he came back? I thought Gannon started playing him less, and I think that helped him. Started rotating 3 safeties. And I think that helped Rodney. And I think he gradually got to the point where I was like, I think my gut reaction at the end of the season was none of the secondary free agents should be back. But the more I thought about it, I really don't think there's a reason not to bring him back. Rodney's not going to be looking for, a huge contract. He's looking for a fair contract, but he's got so much value here. He's so respected. He's really kind of taken on that Malcolm Jenkins role in the locker room as far as leadership. And he's just a very natural leader. And played well at the end of the year. So considering that CB2 and the other safety spot are free agents too, I think it kind of makes sense to bring him back. Doesn't mean I don't want to draft a safety at some point. But yeah. And, you still have Epps under contract as well, who I thought did some good things. I'm not sure he's long-term every down answer at safety, but I'm kind of in the keep Rodney for another year camp.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be a terrible thing. You still have to try to get younger. The problem is I was looking, and look, maybe I'm not looking at the whole scope of the draft quite as well yet, but I'm starting to prepare for Senior Bowl next week. Not a great crop of safeties, at least seniors in this draft. So we'll see. But you're right. They have to figure out a way to get younger. If they bring Rodney back and then sign another younger player in free agency, that might work. And then you have Epps to mix in. But he's, to me, the toughest one to figure out. Next up is Derek Barnett, who I think we're both in agreement he's probably not going to be back. But I still think he's going to get paid decently on the open market.
I mean, edge rushers make a lot of money. I mean, he's still young. Did he even turn 25 yet?
Yeah, he's 25. He was so young when he came in the league.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still at the point. I mean, he's teased us so many times. I'm still at the point where if he goes somewhere, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets 10.5 sacks in a season. But I think sometimes you just have to move on from guys. I mean, it's been 5 years, and he just has never become the player. I mean, even if he had, 8 sacks this year, he had 2. And I understand it's not all about sacks. I get that, but he was invisible a lot. I don't really know what happened with him. I don't get his career arc. Somebody's going to pay him some money, but I don't think as much as he might have made, a year or 2 ago. I mean, 5 years is a pretty big body of work to look at and say, is this guy going to, what's this guy worth? So it'll be an interesting one to see who signs him and what he gets, but it's not going to be here.
Yeah, it might help them out comp pick wise, but the Eagles are probably going to be bigger buyers than they are losing guys, so it might not really matter.
Right.
Next one's Anthony Harris. I had higher hopes for him, honestly. I thought he wasn't very good early in the season. He came along a little bit. Then he had the hand injuries. He had 2 casts on for a while. It was just an okay year for a guy who a few years ago would have gotten paid a lot of money and been they would have gotten Anthony Harris a few years ago. Everyone would have gone, oh my God, they got this great player. It was okay.
Yeah, he was just okay. He didn't make a lot of plays. Just, he was okay. I see no reason to bring him back. He wasn't awful, he wasn't awful, but you just didn't notice him a whole lot.
When they signed him, I thought that was their McLeod exit strategy was we'll get a little bit younger and then re-sign Harris, let Rodney walk. But I'd flip that now. I'd rather keep the older player in McLeod, who I feel like makes bigger plays.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The play that he made against Washington, Anthony Harris ain't making that play. Although he was involved in the play.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of forced that throw.
He did. He made a really good play on that rep. But if it came down to one or the other, and the thing about Rodney, like no one's going to be offering him a huge long-term deal on the open market. His value is here, and I think he knows that, and I think they know that.
Next one, Steven Nelson, the third member of that secondary, is going to be a free agent. Played fairly well in 2021, but you probably want to get younger at that outside corner spot, ideally, right? Especially when you have Slay, who's 31. At a certain point, you got to replenish.
Yeah, I thought Nelson was, I don't know. Are you doing grades for the? I mean, I'd probably give him a B- for the year, maybe a B.
He was fine.
Yeah, he was fine. Maybe a B, maybe a solid B. But you look at that secondary and all those guys, McLeod, Harris, Nelson, and Slay are all in that 29-31 range. And I think that's a dangerous place to be in the secondary. Nelson came in, he did his job. I mean, I've got him taking Sauce Gardner in the first round. So I'm putting Sauce out there from, day one of training camp with the ones with Slay. So, Nelson's, if you have a first round rookie, whether it's him or I know you like Booth, whoever it is, Slay, and then Maddox in the slot, and then you bring back Rodney, and you have Epps and another safety. I think you've upgraded pretty significantly there. So, yeah, I don't see Nelson being here. I also think he played well enough that somebody will see him, say, yeah, we'll give him some money. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, he missed out on free agency last year because he was with Pittsburgh and then got released late. So
right,
he has a chance to make some money, and he's the kind he has no loyalty here. He's got to go and take the biggest paycheck.
Yeah, and you don't want to get a bidding war for Steven Nelson. So yeah, I think he's gone.
Yeah. The next one, Ryan Kerrigan. This is a tough one too, Rube, because he's their playoff star. Can they just let their best playoff performer walk?
Yes.
Think he's in the league next year?
I think he retires. I mean, certain guys kind of play the game as if you can tell that they kind of are at the end of their career. And I don't mean that like, I mean, you can just tell. I mean, I'm not saying he didn't want to be out there, he didn't want to be playing, but sometimes you can just tell when a guy's kind of, man, I've been doing this a long time. I've made the Pro Bowl a bunch of times. I had 100 sacks. What am I doing out here? So, maybe that Bucks game reinvigorated him. He's going to try to, and look, I mean, when he's in the big picture, when you're that age, what's Kerrigan, 33, 34?
Yeah.
Around there. He's old as a football player, but he's not old as a person. And if somebody offers you minimum wage to go play football for a year, I mean, that's $1 million that you're going to, they put in the bank. And it's hard to say no to that. So that's why a lot of guys kind of hang around too long. I mean, looking for that last paycheck. Because once you're done, that money's gone forever, that big money. So maybe somebody offers him a deal. I don't really see it. I think he's done.
Okay. Next one, Hassan Ridgway. Stayed healthy this year, which was a big step for him. and he wasn't as productive as I think he might have wanted. Especially he got off to a pretty good start, and the production really tapered off. But he also didn't get paid anything this year. He was on a veteran salary benefit deal, so he cost them less in terms of cap money than he did in contract. So
Right.
ultimately, I don't think he was a disappointing player this season.
He took up space. He stayed healthy. He got in the way a few times. I don't know what else to say about him. I think they got to get better across that D line. Yeah. I don't. I mean, I don't think he'll be here if that's the question. I, yeah. I mean, he's like the ultimate just a guy. He's just a guy, and he's had. I mean, gosh, he's had a nice career. He's played. What's he played 6-7 years now?
Well, I mean, the 3 years before this, he was hurt quite a bit,
but he got paid. I mean, I was just saying, he's been in the league. He's carved out a nice career for himself. He's a vested veteran. He's got a pension for life. So, but he's not going to be here. They need. I mean, I really like the Milton Williams pick, and it'll be interesting to see how they use him next year. I think his role might get a little bigger. We'll see what they have, but I think the bottom half of that D line has to be a lot better next year. And whether it's a guy who's here on the practice squad or another mid-range pick or even a first-round pick, which isn't out of the question, they got to get better. Score big with the AAA Eagles MVP membership. Along with the superb roadside assistance and discounts you've come to expect from AAA, get exclusive Eagles-related perks. For all the details, visit AAA.com/Eagles. Hey, Nissan just made your choice for a new car an easier one than ever with their most exciting and fuel-efficient lineup. The choice is yours. Now get great offers across Nissan's full line. Shop your local Nissan store today and nissanusa.com.
How about Jannard Avery, who moved to linebacker in his last year with the Eagles? Made some plays this year. He wasn't bad in that Sam position in Gannon's defense. I actually think there's an outside shot he could be back.
Yeah, I think there's an outside shot he could be back. He's a weird player because he'll flash, like he'll make like 4 plays in a quarter, and then you don't notice him for like 3 weeks. Like his plays are all like they come in bunches. And I don't understand that. I've never seen a guy who is so streaky, like a defensive player who's so streaky. He'll get like a tackle for loss on 3 straight downs. You're like, this guy's unbelievable. And you don't notice him for like 5 games. He's a weird player that way. He's got a different kind of skill set, but he's active. You did give up a 4 for him. I kind of think he won't be here either. Do I have any of these guys coming back? Just Rodney so far?
Yeah.
I just think you got to get better at linebacker. And they're kind of, I guess I'm naive thinking that they're going to finally understand that they've got to get, devote more assets to linebacker. I mean, they just got a bunch of special teams guys playing linebacker. And I don't think Avery's a great player. And they just got to get better at that position. I'm going to say he's gone.
Yeah, the weird thing is like that Sam position, though, it's almost like in a way I don't even want to call it a linebacker because he's asked to do different things than the other guys. So I don't. Yeah, it's a tough way to figure out how to what do you call that?
I wonder what they think of Jacoby Stevens.
I mean, Patrick Johnson would be the other. I mean, Patrick Johnson would be the other Sam if he's ready to take that. And early in the year, they were kind of splitting reps at that spot, and then Avery was just better. They played him, which I give them credit for, by the way.
Yeah,
he played the better guy, even though one's a draft pick.
But I mean, that doesn't mean a guy like Jacoby Stevens. I mean, I don't think it means he's going to be behind Patrick Johnson his whole life. I mean,
yeah, but I don't think he's that position.
No, maybe not. I mean, he's the only draft pick that didn't play, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, he did, yeah, played at the end.
He played. I don't even count that game, but yeah, I mean, Patrick Johnson is, to me, I don't think he's the answer really to anything. So maybe you keep Avery just to play that position. But I mean, Avery played a lot of snaps this year. That's Sam.
Yeah.
So Although some games he would, like some games he played 10 snaps. It's just weird. I guess it all depends on who you're playing and what they're
Personnel.
doing.
Yeah.
But you might talk me into him. If we do this again in a week, I might be on keeping him right
I'll
now.
do it every week until I talk you into it, and then I'll flip and say he's gone. The next one's Jordan Howard, who had kind of a career resurgence for a while, and then he had that stinger and was phased out later. I mean, talk about weird careers. Jordan Howard's up there.
Really up and down. I mean, Pro Bowler to come in here and then signing a huge deal with Miami and getting cut after like 5 games, practice squad a couple different years here, great stretch for 5 games, and then and then a non-factor at the end. I love his persistence, his determination. I love the way he runs the ball. I just don't know if he can ever stay healthy enough to really be a factor at this point in his career. I mean, he's really been healthy for like 10 games the last 3 years, where he's really had great production. And I just think Gainwell has to have a bigger role next year. I think Gainwell, and I don't know if you could call him RB2 just because I'm not sure he's going to be a high volume runner. But I think, and I like Boston Scott more than you do. I think with Gainwell and Boston Scott and Miles, I just don't see where Jordan Howard fits in. Now, if he doesn't go anywhere and he still wants to play and you have an injury, I'm fine bringing him back. But as far as re-signing him, I wouldn't do it just because I think those 3 guys have to play. I think Miles, Gainwell, and Boston have to play. They're they can all catch the ball. I mean, obviously Miles has had his own injury issues, but I just think you have to build around those 3 guys. And if Jordan's available and you need him and he's out there, I have no problem bringing him in. I just wouldn't sign him to a deal unless if he wants to sign a deal with a minimum bonus just to have a place to be and get into a camp. But I don't really think he fits into the future. And I really like him as a player, and I admire the way he runs, the way I like his attitude, the way he rebounded after the whole Miami experience and kind of really got determined to get back into the league. I mean, he's set for life financially. He made like $10 million in Miami. It's just not 10 million, but like a lot of money. I like him, but I think he's gone. What do you think? What's your Jordan Howard take?
If he's available, you bring him to camp and you let him sit on the practice squad because there's a good chance Miles gets hurt again and you need him. But anything beyond that, I wouldn't commit to him.
And again, every running back gets hurt. So, I mean, the fact that Jordan and Miles both have injuries, I mean, Miles has had a little more than most. But I was looking I think Ezekiel Elliott's like the only there are only like 3 running backs that played in 17 games this year. I think Zeke, I think Chubb maybe, and like Penny, I think maybe, but there's not a lot. It's a really dangerous position to play. You're just going to get banged up. But yeah, as far as re-signing him as a free agent, which kind of is what we're talking about, I would wait on Jordan Howard, and I hope he gets a chance to play somewhere. I hope some team's like, you know what, we want you to be part of our rotation. Let's bring you in. But I hope he gets that opportunity.
All right. The last unrestricted guy is Jason Kroom, who you probably don't even remember is here, but he got hurt in August, so he's still on the team. Yeah. Hopefully he can finish his career somewhere else and get back in the field, but probably not here.
They do need another tight end. Not him.
Yeah. All right. So they have 4 restricted free agents: Alex Singleton, Nate Herbig, Boston Scott, Greg Ward. Actually, some interesting names there and some decisions to make, because those restricted free agents, if you put a tender on them, come with specified contracts that might be a little bit more than the Eagles are willing to pay. So in a few of those cases, they're probably going to have to let those guys hit the open market and hope they can get them back for cheap.
Yeah, it's hard to know those guys' value from other teams, like how they look at him, it's Boston, Greg Ward, Singleton, and
Herbig.
Herbie. Yeah, it'll be interesting. My guess is that I don't know about Greg Ward. I mean, I like Greg Ward, but obviously they didn't think enough of him to play him over Jalen Reagor this year. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure he's back. And they're going to add at least a receiver somewhere, probably draft one and sign one. Boston Scott's an interesting one. Guy scores a lot of touchdowns. He gets in the end zone, which is it's a rare quality. He had the highest ratio of touchdowns per carries of anybody in the NFL, including quarterbacks this year. He had like 108 carries and like 7 touchdowns or 8 touchdowns, which is crazy. Just finds the end zone. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of tender they give him, what level. I'd make sure.
I don't even know if they're going to. I mean, the lowest tender amount is going to be around $2.4 million.
Yeah, that's true.
That's quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. They might have to. Yeah, they can't pay him $2.5 million to be. I mean, yeah. So, is it really? It's that high, huh?
Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. Yeah. But I also don't see him going anywhere else either. But we'll see.
That's the thing. I don't know if there's any teams like, and those are projected. We don't know the official,
right?
But they're normally, spot on there. So, yeah, but I mean, some of those guys they'll probably have to become unrestricted and then sign them.
Then you can sign them to whatever you want.
Yeah,
and it's going to be less than that tender number. Herbie's an interesting one. I think he's a decent player, but you've got so much. You've got Sua and you've got Driscoll. I don't know how they, how they view Herbig. He's a nice backup, but I don't know if whether he's here or not. I don't think is going to determine whether they win a Super Bowl. But I like having.
You never know.
Herbie's fun to have around.
I like Herbie.
Yeah,
and they only have one exclusive rights guy. That's Andre
Singleton. I mean, Singleton is an interesting one too.
Yeah, he's a good player. He's a little overmatched on defense. At the very least, he's like a fill-in player on defense, and he's a special teamer. And you need guys like that, but
a really good special teamer.
Oh yeah, he is.
Yeah,
I'd
be. Yeah.
No, team wants to pay him. You're not paying him.
Right. No, absolutely. And, he's another one I have a lot of admiration for. Undrafted, got bounced around a bunch of teams in the CFL and played better than he had any right to. The effort was always there, but they've got to get better at that position. And that's what I mean. When I say they can't have a bunch of special teamers out there, I mean Alex Singleton. The effort is incredible. He gets 15 tackles a game. He gets everything out of his ability that he can. There might not be a player on that team who does more with what he has, but I just don't want to play linebacker for my team. I'll just, if he can be a backup, an emergency guy, special teamer, maybe there's a sub package, goal line, whatever. But short of that, no.
Yeah. All right, we're mostly in agreement on those.
And who's the exclusive rights guy?
Andre Sacheret, who was a big-time contributor on special teams early in the year and then got phased out, and no one talked about it. He was inactive for the playoff game.
Yeah, was he? I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, they had Josiah Scott as the other gunner across from Zach McPherson.
Interesting. Yeah, that's something to watch. It probably doesn't augur well for his future.
Yeah, probably not.
I just like saying augur.